From protecting your brand to amplifying your impact, I'm your host, Tanya, attorney, entrepreneur, and fellow digital creator, and I have tips, insights, and actionable strategies on brand protection, trademarks, contracts, business setup, and other legal essentials to help you succeed. I believe that your visionary brilliance deserves to be safeguarded and celebrated. This isn't just another podcast, it's a movement, it's a community, and it's your secret weapon for shining your light with confidence and legal savvy while making your mark in your industry today and for generations to come. Hello, and welcome back to Succeeding on Brand. I'm your host, Tanya, and I'm really excited for today's episode. We are focusing on a topic that is absolutely crucial for protecting your brand: contracts. But of course, before we get started, here's that legal disclaimer that you may know by heart by now, right? All right, first thing, this is for educational and informational purposes only. This is not legal advice. Nothing in this talk in any way creates an attorney-client relationship with Tanya Fisher or Tanya Fisher IP Law. If you need legal help, you should contact a lawyer in your jurisdiction, and preferably one that is familiar with your services. All right. With that being said, let's get to the show. And I'm going to have to say I'm pretty proud of myself. I didn't even have to look that up today. So, how amazing is that? All right. Going on with contracts. Look, I know contracts aren't the most thrilling topic, but I'm going to tell you, understanding them can save you a lot of headaches down the line, okay? Because a well-drafted contract, it lays out the rights and obligations of each party involved, and it ensures that everyone is on the same page, and it protects you and them from misunderstandings, okay? It's going to protect your brand by ensuring you get paid for your work. It's going to safeguard your ownership rights to your creative works, your intellectual property, and it's going to minimize the risk of misunderstandings and disputes. And I want to get real specific about why understanding these contracts are really crucial for your business. Let's talk about it. They clarify expectations. All right. A well crafted, robust contract, what it does is it outlines the scope of work, the payment terms, the ownership rights for projects and collaborations, all of that. And again, hear me, it prevents misunderstandings and potential legal disputes down the line because you have clarified the expectations, the responsibilities of the parties involved. And when I'm saying the parties, that means you and whoever you're going into the agreement with, okay? Well, written contracts, they protect your intellectual property. These contracts, they will specify who owns the copyright to the work you created for a client or project, right? So that'll ensure that your creativity stays yours, okay? If you have trademarks, you're going to have trademarks, but you're going to specify in these contracts how your trademarks should be used or the like, right? So, very important. Same thing if you have patents, trade secrets, okay? Any confidential information, all right? How it is handled, okay? So, it's going to protect your intellectual property. I keep emphasizing this because it's extremely important. Well-drafted contracts, they minimize risk, okay? Contracts can establish limitations on liability, which protects you from unforeseen issues that might arise during a project or a dealing, right? A relationship, a partnership, whatever's going on there, right? And contracts in general, because we're clarifying the expectations. So those are things that you know, things that you can foresee happen. But if your contract is definitely crafted so that it establishes those limitations on liability, so much so that if even there's a situation that is unforeseen, that there's protection. All right. In regard to payment, they help you get paid and keep you paid, all right? They help ensure that the correct payment is given, that that payment is timely, and they also give you recourse for non-payment by someone, any chargebacks that someone may try and institute, and they help you from having to refund payments, okay? So very important. So some of the key contract types that we'll see in this community for the digital creators, the creative entrepreneurs, you'll more than likely see NDAs. Those are non-disclosure agreements. And these are essential if you're sharing confidential information with collaborators like freelancers, uh, editors, freelance designers I'm thinking of right now too, and even potential investors. So NDA, it really protects you and your ideas and your intellectual property and the like from being disclosed. Then again, we did talk a little bit, I said a little bit about freelance. That's why there was a hesitation, but you'll see like freelance agreements. And when you hire a freelancer, a clear agreement, what that'll do is outline the project scope, the payment terms, and the ownership of any creative works produced, right? So this protects you and your freelancer or your independent contractor. And then for those of you who have client contracts, if you're providing creative services to clients, a well-defined contract, it specifies the deliverables, right? The timeline and the payment terms, and they ensure that everyone knows what to expect. So, contracts are a lot. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Drafting, negotiating, even looking at contracts can feel like legalese torture and a hurdle, and actually spending time in building your business, right? A lot of times you don't want to deal with the contracts, but you have to because they are the gears that turn your business and that fuel your success. All right. To use those cute little buzzwords, but it's true. I draft, I negotiate, I review contracts. You don't have to tell me. I feel you. I know that they are just a lot. And that is why I'm actually aiming to break them down for you. I want to make them easily digestible and decipherable for you. I want to make them easier to understand and to use in your business while making sure that you maintain optimal protection. So don't worry. I am here to like make it easy, help you be confident. I'm going to, give you that information, that knowledge, empower you to be able to navigate the agreements with confidence and ease at the same time. Those are my goals. So, a couple things, a few golden rules for navigating contracts, right? Please, please, please do not sign blindly. Take your time to read and understand those contracts before you sign them, okay? With that being said, don't be afraid to ask questions. If there's a clause that you don't understand, you need to seek clarification from the other party that is giving you that contract or consult with your lawyer and one that is again specializing in what you're doing or knows the type of contract that you are kind of reviewing, negotiating. Do know, speaking of, that there's a difference between a template and a customized contract. So while templates can be a starting point, you want to make sure to tailor them for your specific needs for optimal protection. All right. And I'm talking about these contracts that you get online, even if they're lawyer drafted templates, you got to make sure that the terms in there are speaking to your needs, okay? That they are actually protecting you and that they are relevant to what you're doing and the obligations and the expectations and the rights that you want to be emphasized, followed, and agreed to. Okay. Do know, even if you do have one contract that really works well in your business, contracts are not a one size fit all for every situation. You want to make sure to address the terms that are unique to that specific situation or transaction. So, one contract that you have that you may use, maybe you have a service agreement with one contractor. That contract may not be useful or have the terms you need when you're working with someone else, okay? So you have to make sure that you really address the terms that are unique to the specific situation or transaction in each of your contracts. And again, while you certainly know your business best, I would consider consulting an attorney for reviewing important contracts, especially for like high value projects or really complex collaborations and things like that. We will go through contract clauses, have some contract clause breakdown sessions and everything in the on the podcast and several episodes, and especially if you all are asking questions about contracts, then of course we'll work on those clauses and try to break them down. But for your specific needs, then I would definitely, particularly if you have any high value projects or any type of complex situations, collaborations and things, to consult an attorney. All right, I'm looking at my notes to get us out of here. I think I almost have it. All right, I do want you to know, yes, contracts are crazy. Not always, though. They're not always, but you just want to make sure you're protected. All right, but they're not scary or as scary as we think they are when you understand your business and what you're asking for and what you're asking to be adhered to, okay? What you're asking to be agreed to, all right? The expectations that you have. So don't worry. I got you. I got you. I got you. Definitely don't want you to be fearful and just sign anything or just, worry or just sign it because you're like, I just don't know, and you're scared or afraid to ask. You have to ask questions. You have to make sure that your brand and your business is protected. I'm going to provide tips again to help you understand definitely common contract clauses. So we'll be doing that right on this podcast. And I'm also going to have bonus downloadable templates to get you started. Okay. So, in every sense of the phrase, again, I got you. So, if you just happen to be feeling stuck on a specific contract clause, then definitely leave a comment below this episode and I might feature that request in a future episode. And then we can, especially ones where we break down common contract clauses. And I always love to have a resource for you. So I have a free downloadable contract template checklist, okay? And this little handy tool, what it can do and what it's designed to do rather, is to help you make sure that your contracts cover the key elements that protect your brand, okay? So definitely make sure to download that. And hopefully you are receiving that in the hub as a subscriber to this podcast. If you haven't subscribed to this podcast already, or you're just hearing about it today, I want you to subscribe today. You can find that information at tanyafisher.com. And there'll be a link and information to join the subscription because we will definitely be breaking down some contracts, talking more about the things you need to know, the information you need to have. And again, there will be bonus downloadable templates that you can use and to help definitely help you get started. Excuse me. All right. So Also, for subscribers, if you seem to be, again, overwhelmed by a specific contract that you may need, we do have contract clinics for the CYA collab membership. So we'll talk those out in those too. So consider joining that membership as well. But for right now, definitely subscribe to this podcast. All right, let's get us out of here. I hope you enjoyed these preliminary kind of crash course episodes. They started out with the brand protection episode, so check that out if you haven't already, like a brand protection 101. The next one, we talked about copyright, so a little crash course in copyrights. Then there was a trademark primer, and here just a little bit of talking about contracts and some of the key elements and things that you should be thinking about when you are drafting, negotiating, or just entering into contracts in general. All right, wishing you optimal success. Please subscribe to the podcast. Leave a comment or question under this episode. Take care. You got questions? Please, please, please feel free to answer them. I love answering questions. And guess what? Oh, before I forget, don't forget to download that free resource. It's that contract template checklist. All right. With that being said, take care and we'll chat soon.